Now let's talk about some multiplication problems. So again, multiplications. So example number 1, I would like to do 7 times 23. So to set this question up, again, I will write down the numbers vertically. So 7 times 23, like this. Just line up to the right. Line up to the right. Because we're just dealing with whole numbers, right? So it doesn't matter. Just line up to the right. Well, after that, here we go. And by the way, you must remember the times table. You must remember the times table. In order for you to be successful to do multiplication, you must know the times table. So 3 times 7, we know it's 21. So I have a 1. And yeah, because we just need to do 3 times 7 for this part. So you can just put on 21. Right? 3 times 7 is 21. We are done with the 3. Now move to the 2. And you need to do 2 times 7. And notice that 2 is in the 10th place, right? And it's the second number. So when we are going to write down an answer, we're going to write down right here. 2 times 7 is 14. So I'm going to write down a 4 right here. And since there's nothing else that you need to do, so that's the 14. Okay. Again, when you are moving to the second place, you will start off right here, right? The second place. So right here, when you do multiplications, must add, right? You always add whether you do multiplications. So you're going to add up these results. So I have 1 right here, 2 plus 4 is 6, and then 1 right here by itself. So yeah, the answer is the answer is 161. I should make this in red, just like how I did it earlier. 161. Anyways, the answer to a multiplication question, it's called the product. So we can say 7 times 23. The product of 7 and 23 is 161. Okay? And let me talk about example number 1 with a star next to it. Let's say I want to do 23 times 7. So as you can see that I just refers to order, right? 7 times 23. And here, example 1 star is 23 times 7. Well, we talked about this earlier in the previous video. When you switch the order of multiplication, you will end up with the same answer. So you kind of just did the work already. This is equal to 161, right? But I would like to, just set this up again and just pretend that I didn't do these questions earlier. So in this case, let's write the 23 first on the top and times 7 on the bottom. So we have 23 times 7. 3 times 7, right? You use the 7 first. Sorry. You use the 7 first. 7 times 3 is 21. So write down the 1 with a 2 carry over it. Right? That's my 21. And then you have to keep going. You have to keep using the 7 and multiply it with the 2. Right? 7 times 2 is 14. And 14 plus that 2, it's a total of 16. So as you can see that we end up with the same answer, 161, just like how we did it earlier. Okay? So as you can see that it really doesn't matter when you multiply. Either order it's fine, right? Either order is fine. But as you can see earlier, if we put 7 on the top and 23 on the bottom, it kind of like we did a little bit more. But instead right here, if you put 23 first and then 7, then it's kind of like just one steps, right? This is shorter than that. So the idea is we usually put the number that has more digits on the top. Okay, let me make this. We usually put the numbers that has more digits on the top. So in this case, if you put 23 times 7, 23 on the top and then 7 on the bottom, you get 161, which is just a 1 step. It's easier, I think. So let's do another example. Example number 2. Let's do a harder one. Let's say 58 times 134. So, well, as you can see that you have two numbers. One is 58. The other one is 134. And 134 has more digits. So let's use this idea here. It's going to save you a little bit steps, okay, some steps. So I'm going to write down 134 first, and then times 58. So I'm going to use some scratch paper right here. Okay? So here we go. Again, know the times table. First, 8 times 4 is 32. So write down the 2 first, and then have the 3 carry over. And then 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 3 is 27. So now write down the 7 and carry over the 2. One more. We need to do 8 times 1, which is 8. 8 plus the 2 is 10. So you write down the 0 with the 1 carry over. And that's it, right? There's nothing here, so you can just bring down the 1 right here. So 8 times 134, you get 1072. Now we are done with the 8. Move to the 5. And again, this is in the second place. So later on when we do the calculations, we're going to start off right here. 5 times 4, we get 20. So I write down the 0 first, and then put a 2. Right? 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 3, it's 15. 15 plus 2 is 17. So write down the 7, and then carry over the 1. Last, 5 times 1, it's 5. And then 5 plus 1 is 6. So after you do the multiplications here, you add. So 2 is still the 2. 7 plus 0 is just 7. 0 plus 7 is 7. 1 plus 6, it's 7. So that tells us that 58 times 134 is 7,772. 72. Or you can also say the product of 58 and 134 is 7772. Okay? Let me do one more. Example number 3. Let me ask you guys this. What's 781 times 0? Well, let's just do this. 781 times 0. Actually, you don't need to do any of the work, but I just want to do it anyways. 0 times 0, we know it's 0. 0 times 8 is 0. 0 times 7 is 0. Right? That's pretty much it. So, 781 times 0, it's 0. In fact, any number times 0 will give you 0. Any number times 0 will give you 0. And you can also reverse that. If you have 0 times 781, that will also give you 0. Right? 0 times anything, let me write that down actually. 0 times any number, or any number times 0 This will give you 0. Ah, shouldn't put it right here, but I'll just box it. There we go. So if you are doing a multiplication question, and then if you see a 0 times like a big giant number, well, that's just equal to 0. That's a very easy question. Let's do one more. Perhaps let's do one more. So that's example number 4. So let me do example number 4. Oops, this is my... Let's do 215 times 58, I think. So let's write down 215 on the top times 58. And again, you want to write down 215 on the top because it has more digits. Okay, so then let me get a scratch paper right here, and let's begin. So start off with the 8. 8 times 5, we get 40. So write down the 0 first, and then have the 4 carry over. 8 times 1 is equal to 8. 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. So write down the 2, and then have the 1 carry over. And then 8 times 2, you get 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. So you can just write down 17 like that. So we're done with the 8. Now move to the 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So write down the 5 right here. It's kind of just line up with the second place. 5 times 5 is 25. Write down the 5, and then have the 2 carry over. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. I like to tell you guys the answers before I ask you guys the question. Anyways, lastly, I need to do 5 times 2. I have 10. And that's pretty much it. When you are doing multiplication, you always add. So 0 is just 0. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. So write down the 4 and have the 1 carry over. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 1 just carry over. So the product of 215 and 58, 215 times 58 is 12,470. 12470. Okay,